Hey everybody, welcome to the Brenda Lee's podcast. So today in this episode, I'm going to be talking about therapy. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this topic today is because I feel like a lot of people don't really know about a lot of different therapies that are out here for you. I don't even know about some of them. A lot of them weren't really mentioned to me even when I was in therapy. A lot of them, the therapist didn't really bring up to me really. I knew about like the therapy groups that they have with like groups of other people, but that was one of the other ones that I knew of, besides just the single type of therapy session with just you and the therapist. But, you know, being somebody who was a part of a therapy group with a bunch of other people that were not even my age, people I couldn't even really relate to, but just going through the experience and being there and, you know, being there in presence for myself, to see it for myself, was something new and different for me because I'd never really been in group therapy. I'd never even been a part of it. And when I went for the first time, I think I only went for like a couple of days, and then I instantly stopped going. And then they ended up like they ended up removing me from it because I didn't continue to go as much as I should have been, or like I was supposed to. But I only didn't because I didn't feel comfortable with it after a while, because I felt like I couldn't relate to anybody else that were like way older than me. So I felt like I couldn't really relate to none of them at all. So that's why I decided to just stop going. And I stopped going. And then ever since then, when I stopped going, I just never went back. And I just ended up leaving that whole company period because their services wasn't really the best. And I don't think their services were the best for me per se. And not just that, I feel like every therapist that I've had with being a part of that particular service were literally trying to label me like I was crazy, or they would just throw medication like out there all the time. They would always throw medication at me and bring it up all the time in conversations. And I just got really tired of hearing that word. So I just said, it's time to just move on to something completely different, something else, but that's even better and that provides better service, because the service I was getting, I feel like, was really not helping me. It is crazy because you would think the therapist will bring up this type of stuff, like they will open you up more to other resources and other services that are out there, but that are still involved in like therapy, but they've never brought none of this up. Like, I know about behavioral health, that type of therapy. I know about some of them, but not all. But some of the ones on here, never heard of. They never brought it up, never mentioned it to me, none of that. And even if I asked about other services or other resources that are out here that relates to therapy and that's a part of therapy, they never told me about it. Because I remember asking one of the therapists that I had, I was like, what other resources or therapy is there out here that I could look into that could be useful for me if I decided to look into something else for myself to get the help that I'm looking for? They never even mentioned it. One thing I do want to point out about the group therapy is that the group therapy I was a part of, that I went to, which was a part of the place that I was going to receive therapy, that group therapy group was actually fun in a way, even though I felt like I couldn't really relate to the other people that was a part of it. But that's besides the point. That wasn't the part of it that was fun. It was fun because like the therapist who was controlling the group, who was in control of the group and, running the group and everything, she would go around and let each person pick a song that they liked that the whole group could listen to. And we would just listen to music. And then we would talk. And then another person would request a song that they like, and then she would play that song. And then another person would get to talk and express how they felt. And that's basically how it went on throughout the whole group therapy up until I stopped going. And I think it was one day that I was supposed to go and I didn't go. And then that's when they OPT'd me out of it. And they sent me a notification, everything, I think through my email, letting me know that like I wasn't a part of it anymore because I didn't show up or I stopped going. And I think usually when you decide to stop going or you just don't show up, it's like a no call, no show. You usually have to have a reason for why you didn't show up. Otherwise, if you don't contact them with a reason, letting them know why you didn't come, why you wasn't there, they just automatically remove you out of the group. And I didn't really care because I was already planning on not really going anymore. A therapist would tell me or recommend me to cope with something, and the ways how I would cope with things compared to how they would tell me to cope with something is totally different. Like, I remember getting like a little bit offensive with them sometimes when I would tell them about how I would cope with things, and then they would tell me what they would rather suggest me or recommend me to do or try to get me to look into or to at least try. And then I would be like, no, I'm not doing that. That doesn't work for me. Like, I remember saying that to a therapist one time. We was in a session and we were talking, and I was telling her about how I'd be coping with stuff, how I'd be dealing with things. And she tried to recommend something to me that I never did before. First, she asked me, like, have you ever done this before? And I was like, no. It was some type of therapy or some form of therapy that involves with therapy that she wanted me to try to do. And she was like, have you ever done this before? And I was like, no, I never have. It was new to me because I was hearing it for the first time from her. I never heard it before. And I was like, no, I've never done that before. And she was like, oh, you should definitely try it and see how it works out for you. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that because it doesn't work for me. Like, I remember getting nasty with her like that, and I felt bad afterwards because it's like, damn, she's trying to help me and like introduce me to some stuff that I probably don't even know of that actually could work for me because I never tried it before. And I'm like being kind of rude about it. So it's the same race as us because a lot of us are probably more comfortable with that anyway. I remember another Black girl saying that she don't want to have no white therapist. If she goes to therapy or ever go to therapy in her life, she wants to have a Black therapist. She don't feel comfortable having a white therapist because she feel like they will automatically put all these labels and stuff on her and try to make her be somebody that she's not. Or try to label her as somebody that she's not. And nobody wants that. Like, that can be really uncomfortable. And that's the type of stuff that probably makes you want to like stay away from even trying to even invest or get into therapy because of issues and stuff like this. Like, for everybody is totally different and everybody's experience with it is different. But I'll definitely like to know what some of you opinions are about therapy, what you feel and think about it, if you've been in it, if you're not in it, if you are in it, if you're thinking about going. And let's really get into more of a discussion about what therapy is, how it feels, what the experience is like for different types of people, and definitely share with me in the comments about what your experience are like with therapy or have been like with therapy. I would like to know, and I can definitely make that be an upcoming discussion if I ever decide to touch base on this topic again, which I don't know if I will or will not, but I just thought this would be something good to talk about for today. And it can also give you guys an opportunity to learn something new about therapy and get more of a feel of it. If it is your thing, cool. If it's not, that's fine. It's not everybody's thing typically, and that's totally okay. But stay blessed, stay safe. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. Keep staying tuned in with all my episodes, and I will see you guys on the next one. And thanks for watching the Brenda Lee's podcast episode today. Bye.